boxing beats and rhymes. Let me tell you something, man. I watch this dude's channel every day. He's over there in the UK, man. When it comes to boxing, man, he know his shit. If you want to learn something, go to these channels. Boxing beats and rhymes.
Yo, I appreciate the appreciation. But let me tell you this. You stole the show. You stole the show with one of the comebacks of the year. Check this out.
Talk about this all the time. And I'll go further. Everyone in my town, or most people in the whole of New York, know me. Like who know sports in New York and who know boxing. Mm-hmm. Most people don't know what the hell's going on. They don't like in the old days. They'd walk up to fucking Nassim Hamed, man. That show with Kevin Kelly, that was crazy. Who's Hamed going to fight next? I can't wait for the next big HBO show. Whatever. No one knows what the fuck's going on, and nobody even knows what the zone is. Forget about watching it. I mean, as much.
Now he say nobody know what the zone is. I totally disagree with that. Now he was throwing shots at the zone, but I totally disagree with that part there. But that's neither here nor there. He may say no one know what the zone is. Maybe from a boxing standpoint, I do get it. He doesn't like the zone, but guess what? You was the same guy, Lou DiBella, who brought Deontay Wilder to the table to talk to the people at the zone when they offered him $100 million. True.
And that's what you call receipts in the game. Instead of cursing out the zone, you should be cursing out Al Heyman for basically fucking your career over and screwing up Wilder's money. Wilder's screwing that he ain't getting paid on time when the zone had $100 million for him just a few years back. Come on, man. He can't get the funding to fight Andy Ruiz from the PBC. And you're throwing shots at the zone? Was it the zone who threw you out of the PBC? The zone gave your boy Kambosos his highest career payday up to that point. I'm talking about the Teofimo Lopez fight. Michael Montero on Twitter, he says, Grandpa Bob gets what Grandpa Bob wants when it comes to the WBO. True indeed. He's got them in his pocket, literally. I mean, here's this Microsoft Word document they sent to Bob and Top Rank. Dear Mr. ARUM, please be advised that in the wake of the recent postponement of the Josh Taylor-Jack Catterrall WBO voluntary title defense, the WBO World Championship Committee is hereby ordering the commencement of negotiations for the mandatory title defense obligation in the junior welterweight division between Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez. The camps herein are granted 10 days upon issuance of this notice to reach an agreement of purse bid proceedings shall be conducted pursuant to WBO regulations of World Championship contest. The minimum bid for the junior welterweight division is $150,000. Any of the parties involved may request a purse bid ceremony at any time during the negotiation process. Lastly, this committee reserves its rights to issue all further rulings deemed necessary, helpful, and convenient to accomplish the purposes, policies, and intent of the WBO regulations of the World Championship contest, including serving the best interests in the WBO junior welterweight division. So that's from Luis Batista Salas Esquire from the WBO and Francisco Vacarel. And they forwarded it to Josh Taylor, Carl Moretti, and, you know, the top ranked people and what. I mean, they're saying they're ordering this mandatory. When did they order it? Because from what I saw, Tio and Josh were calling each other out. Bob co-signed it. And then the WBO co-signed it. And now they're saying they're ordering the mandatory. You mean you ordered it after Bob requested it? The sanctioning bodies don't really have no power. They don't really have no power. You know, like, they're controlled by the powerful promoters, the powerful television networks, basically. And they're just pawns. They're pawns, really.
News is coming out, Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez in the UK from May, June. My competitor reported that yesterday. That means that we're potentially not going to see the Jack Catterrall fight now, are we?
Yeah, I don't know, because obviously Jack has a contract for that fight. I only heard that this morning. I'll speak to my team, I'll speak to Sky, but he's got a contract, so he's still waiting for Josh to say when he was going to be fit. It was meant to be announced on EUBANK Smith, scheduled for March the 4th. And at the moment, we're just waiting to know when Josh is fit.
Tell you what, Ben, you might as well tear up that contract. Like, you're too lightweight for Bob Arum. What I noticed is Bob Arum basically gets away with everything. Frank Warren gets away with everything with the media in the UK. And I saw Kelly and Kugan Cassius manhandle Ben in an IFL interview the other day. In a friendly way. And what you have to do, like, you've got to get stuck in. Like, Eddie's not popular for getting stuck into Frank and Bob, but he does it. You have to get stuck into Bob. If you got a contract, you've got to get stuck in. This is the social media era. You've got to put your pitch up. We have a contract. Let people know. But Ben's a bit lightweight right now. Bob's just going to bully him out of the fight. But I tell you what, Sky will be watching this, and there's people at Sky, same age as me and older. They know the psychology of this shit. And they're going to be thinking, have we got the right man to deal with the likes of Bob, Frank, and Eddie, and even Kugan and Callie? Because they're robust characters. Yeah, Kugan was bullying him a little. And, you know, Callie was just busting his chops. And you see how Simon Jordan talks about Eddie, but Eddie is too busy to go up and talk sport and have it out with him. He would do. I mean, Eddie's threw shots at him already, but he just can't be bothered. And you have to watch that because the media play a very big part in how you're able to maneuver as a boxing promoter. If you don't have the media on side, not all the media, but a certain section, or you're not able to hold your own when they're throwing shade at you, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble. Promoters will walk all over you. The game will walk all over you. Jack Catterrall called Lopez versus Taylor the Battle of the Ducks, and he said there's nothing stopping him from taking on PROGRAIS. So Catterrall wants all the smoke. He wants all the smoke. And like, if Ben Shalom is serious, you need to take some of that third-party money and make that fight. I mean, Regis PROGRAIS is on Pro Bellum. It's easy work to make that fight. There ain't going to be no network politics on that one. They ain't going to network. PROGRAIS, though, he's saying that Lopez is mentally weak and his psyche is too fragile to even survive a press tour with him. He's looking more at a Ryan Garcia fight if Tank can't make the April date. Like, you see, I'm a PROGRAIS supporter, but that's not good to me. Like, Jack Catterrall wants a fight. Why aren't you guys looking to fight people who want to fight? Why aren't you looking to do that? You're looking to fight these guys who don't want to fight. Ryan Garcia don't want to fight. I mean, him and Oscar are going to bitch about, oh, well, Tank might be in jail, you're screwing up the fight. Well, you had an opportunity to fight for a WBC title against David Haney, and you didn't take it. You've been fucking around a lot. And now when you want a real fight, the people you want to fight are just like you and fuck around. Fight the fighters who want to fight. Catterrall would be a good defense for PROGRAIS. PROGRAIS, though, may not want to fight in the UK after the Josh Taylor decision, which he thought he won. And I thought he had a case as well, to be honest. So maybe he doesn't want to go through that again. The British Boxing Board of Control have insisted, Robert Smith has insisted that Conor Benn will not be approved to fight on a British Boxing Board of Control sanctioned show in the UK, even with a foreign licence, until he proves he's innocent to the British Boxing Board of Control, UKAD, following his positive drugs tests. Haha. Didn't Conor threaten the board and say they'll be hearing from his lawyers soon? What happened to that? When are the WBC going to clear him? I mean, even Eddie has had to come to terms with the perception of the fighter he promotes and how he will be perceived. He says, Conor Benn must adopt a fuck you mentality, no matter the outcome. This is a kid who wants to be loved. He wants to be a hero. And he ain't gonna be. Innocent, guilty, whatever. So you just gotta get on with it. The article of Boxing Social was titled, Eddie Hearn tells Conor Benn he'll never be a hero, whatever the verdict. That's hardcore. So the Women's World Boxing Championships, this is amateur boxing, starts from the 15th of March and it runs through till the 25th in New Delhi. Team GB, Great Britain, is pulling out because the International Boxing Association are to let Russia and Belarusian boxers compete under their country's flags in New Delhi. It contravenes International Olympic Committee IOC guidance to exclude athletes from the two nations following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now forget for a minute, the argument whether Russian boxers are innocent and they're caught up in something beyond their control. Politics and sport shouldn't mix. Forget that for a minute. Just for a minute. The International Boxing Association's decision is not being welcomed by the Olympic movement. You know, they're talking about long-standing issues of sporting integrity, governance, transparency, financial management, which is being questioned. The integrity of the International Boxing Association is being questioned by the Olympic Committee, which may add to the concerns of many if there is a future for boxing in the Olympics. Apparently Ireland have withdrawn. The United States, from both men's and women's tournaments, is still under review whether the men will withdraw from Team GB. Now, boxing will be part of Paris 2024, but the Olympics in Los Angeles 2028, there's no room for it. And they're saying that the IBA has refused to implement changes the International Olympic Committee have requested. But to me, like, there's more to this story. I can't be bothered to read it. I'll read it later. I don't think boxing being excluded from the Olympics is that big a deal. Can't they get sponsorship to just get a tournament going to run concurrently when the Olympics is running, just to replace it? changing the name, the IBA Games or something. I don't know, they're so corrupt. They'll probably botch that up too. It's a very messy situation. Very, very messy. And like, excluding boxing from the Olympics because the IBA are corrupt, just, like, that's unfair. Like, okay, the Belarusian and Russian boxers are saying, well, this isn't fair. They're not Putin. They're not choosing to invade the Ukraine. But, like, the boxers are not choosing the officials to be dirty from the IBA. There must be a way to save boxing without such an extreme decision. Lawrence Okolie and Richard Rhiakpore clashed at the Creed London premiere this evening. Ben Shalom might be thinking how he can capitalise on this. Two unbeaten London cruiserweights, high knockout percentages. The rivalry's been simmering for a while. Lawrence Okolie, while not yet completing the move to boxer yet, will have his next fight on Sky. And I don't think that sits well with Richard Rhiakpore, because when they brought him over there from Matchroom, they said they were going to make him the face of Boxer XX. But now Okolie's on the cusp of moving over there. I'm putting two and two together, and I'm going to assume Richard isn't that pleased. And I know Okolie doesn't like him, obviously. Hopefully the fight happens when they're both still unbeaten. Okolie apparently approached Craig Richards and Rhiakpore and started talking, and Richard felt he was disrespected. But he said, look, it wasn't a great look, but they did show restraint. There weren't no punches thrown. Richard said he saw red, and I agree with that. They're two young boxers in the same weight class. There's a rivalry there, and it weren't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Big up Spencer Fearon. He had a very calming effect on it all, and was determined that it didn't go no further. They weren't like, yo, I'm gonna come back and the man them and the machine and all that soft bull crap. They didn't do that. I just saw passion that they wanted to get at each other. They want to fight each other in the ring. And get some money. I haven't seen nothing online where Lawrence is responding to what went down. But he did speak about being realistic about fighting Anthony Joshua with a move up to heavyweight. He said he rated his chances of fighting AJ as slim at best, as he admitted his mother would not agree to it anyway. But he said there's lots of other good fights out there. He has left 258 management, so who knows? Things could change. The boxing landscape always unpredictable. Things can change. Could happen. In fact, it's weird. Now, let me try and tie this all up. I don't think Okolie was happy that AJ went to Loughborough to train with Rhiakpore and Fraser Clark, because he was sparring with Rhiakpore and Fraser, obviously. I don't think Lawrence was happy about it. I don't know if that brought a wedge between him and AJ, why he left 258 management. I don't think that's got nothing to do with the situation with Eddie Hearn and Lawrence. I can see where his mum's coming from, because if Okolie was honest, like the amount of undercards that AJ put Okolie on, and he got some very, very, very good paydays. His mum is probably fond of AJ, probably looks at him like, not as a son, but you get what I'm saying, in that kind of vein. Plus AJ being Nigerian like her and Lawrence. And, AJ's done a lot for Lawrence, and in turn, she gets a better life too. No, she's not co-signing that. You get the feeling Lawrence, the way he's handled certain issues with his career with Eddie and Shane McGuigan is a little bit ruthless. And if it was down to him alone, he'd throw hands at AJ. I don't know what AJ's position on that is. So, not in the foreseeable future, but things could change. Things could change. He spoke about the new hookup with SUGARHILL. And, he's a fan of how SUGARHILL and Emmanuel Stewart work with tall, long fighters. And he said he's seen it with Tyson Fury, Andy Lee, Adonis Stevenson, just to name a few. They find a way of making fighters just a little more clinical. So he likes that kind of energy that he brings to boxing. He said he sparred with Tyson Fury before the first Deontay Wilder fight. And he said he saw the transition that he made in the second fight and the third. And Lawrence said, I'd like a bit of that. So that's the main reasons. He fights David Light at the 8-0 Arena in Manchester. 25th of March. Tickets go on sale this Friday at boxer.com. I was shocked myself, actually. The bookmakers still have EUBANK as a slight favourite for the rematch. And the fans are saying, well, this is going to be easy money. If Liam is an underdog, there's going to be a lot of money going on Liam Smith. EUBANK Jr. priced at 4-5, minus 130, with Smith at evens, plus 100. I do believe this second fight will be a different fight. I did pick EUBANK first time around, and unless his chin or his punch resistance has really deteriorated over the past few months or year or so, because EUBANK will be hoping that next time he gets tagged, his chin will hold up. And often boxers are the last to see that they're in deterioration with their punch resistance. But sometimes it is a one-off. I'm not saying this is, but sometimes it's just a one-off. You get caught. There's plenty of fighters who get caught once or twice in lengthy careers. It can be a one-off. Who knows? I believe it's a lot tougher fight. You know, it will go a lot longer. I think EUBANK is a very proud man, and he will want to prove that he's a much better fighter than that. And Liam knows this as well, that Chris is literally fighting for his career, and that can make a man dangerous. Should be a good fight. I think Liam Smith will have issues with EUBANK, but he's likely to catch up with Chris at some stage, and can Chris take his punches, is what I have to ask now. Tank has pleaded guilty to 4 traffic offences in connection to a hit and run that injured 4 people, including a pregnant woman in 2020. Davis, 28, was set to stand trial in Baltimore Circuit Court before taking the plea agreement. Circuit Judge Althea M. Handy will determine the punishment for the crime at sentencing on May the 5th. On November the 5th, 2020, Davis was at club celebrating his birthday and latest victory in the ring. He was driving a 2020 Lamborghini Urus SUV on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard at about 1:50 a.m. when he ran a red light and hit a 2004 Toyota Solara. Baltimore police reported the car was destroyed. According to police, 4 people were taken to hospital. Police reported while Davis left in another car that showed up on the scene. Circuit Judge Melissa M. Finn previously rejected a proposed plea agreement in the case that called for Davis to serve no jail time in the crash. Well, with the no jail plea agreement off the table, what's next? Will he go to jail? Is the Garcia fight in jeopardy? They were trying to schedule the fight to take place in April, but now with Tank to be sentenced in May and still facing charges in Florida, was that with the mother of his child? It's difficult to see it happening anytime soon, isn't it? They're saying now it could be late 2023, 2024. Ryan needs to move on right now and let Tank sort his situation out. It's all a mess. It's all a mess. I mean, if you put Tank's legal issues aside, they've still got the issues over the rematch where that's going to be broadcast. Like, obviously DAZN would like to get a piece of the action, but Showtime and the PBC, they want to keep it all in-house, the 2 fights. And, like, there's too much going on with that fight to happen anytime soon. You know what I mean? That's what it looks like to me. I remember once commenting on Twitter that Michael Conlon, before he fought Laywood, was given a bad rap, and he's a lot better than what a lot of people are saying he is. And Conlon has probably got his settings on, if you say his name in a comment on Twitter, then he'll see it. And he liked the comment. Laywood had a lot of issues with Michael Conlon's backhand, his left hand, from that southpaw stance. A lot of issues. Pre-fight, like Ben Davison is saying today to Red October, I told you that Conlon is a better puncher than everyone is selling him as. He did say it as well. He also said that they're not going to run from Mauricio Lara. They're not going to run. They are going to box though, but they're not going to run. One thing what troubled me, what Ben Davison said, he said, Lee might take a little while to find his rage and get into stride. No, you should have your mind geared up and Lee geared up that you get into range and into his stride straight away. They got up from that knockdown against Conlon, big, heavy knockdown, and he was hurt in the second round pretty badly too. At this level here, you can't afford to keep doing that. And Lara is a puncher. He is a puncher. He's got a reputation of being more of a puncher than Conlon. Although, it's tricky really, you know, because Conlon is a tricky southpaw who creates nice punching angles off the feint and stuff like that. Is that really Mauricio Lara? You know, Lara is very unorthodox. He throws punches and he looks off balance when he's throwing them, and they still land with power. Even when his feet ain't set, he's still landing power shots. And while he's not a southpaw like Conlon, I still believe that Lee Wood is very open for the left hook. Lee Wood also loads up a little too much, but Lara, he likes to tear up and is always there to be hit. This is a 50-50 to me. It's a 50-50. Both men are around 5'7", but I believe Lee is the bigger featherweight, and he can accentuate the size difference by not leaning into punches as he did with Conlon a few times. But it's going to come down to attrition, I feel. I feel Lee's going to have to be able to take his shots, take Lara's shots, and break his heart, unless he can land something big early. I haven't really got a prediction. I'm just looking forward to it, and I'm probably going to go live.